Hello. Thanks for joining me on this less beautiful than yesterday rural Pennsylvania day. A little rainy, but that's okay. It rains, that's normal springtime stuff. It's the snow garbage, that we're seeing every other day now. So thanks for joining. I gotta make a quick trip into work today. Now my plan is to actually do some regular live streams and videos today. But we'll see what life throws at me. This should be the time of year where I'm starting to mow, but half my grass is dead because all this snow, and it just, I don't know. What's hitting the hardest is the birds. They don't know what to do. All right. We're a minute in, I haven't said anything. Let's talk about Pennsylvania and the lockdown. So, Governor Wolf comes out. First off, everyone's confused. Hey, what's up, tactical technician? Everyone's confused. No one knows what's going on here in Pennsylvania. So, my buddy Tom, he texted me today and was like, hey, is the lockdown lifted in your county? I live in Clarion County. I was like, it is. I don't think it is. So, my understanding is that May 8th, they will be reopening some counties. So let me just go through a quick, we have no idea, those answers haven't been made clear, but let me go through a quick rundown on the timeline of what's happening in Pennsylvania. So I did this interview on a radio station, 104.1 FM, last Friday, okay? So Todd Bartley from that station is the best reporter I've seen in the country asking these important questions to the executive of his state or in the country. And so he's asked questions about threshold, what their models were, things like that. So in mid-March, right before Governor Wolf's lockdown, you could go on their website and hear this. He asks Secretary Levine, who is the head lady, she's like the folkie of Pennsylvania, asks her, how are we going to decide policies? And they say, we're going to decide them on a county-by-county basis. It won't be a one-size-fits-all approach. We'll look at things like how many ICU beds are being used in each county, how many infected in each county, how many severe cases, how many have dead, and then we'll make decisions on that county-by-county level. Then a week or two later, they go against that, and they decide that they're going to lock down the entire county. All non-essential businesses, and since then they've gotten stricter and stricter as time's gone on. So, as of I think this was last Wednesday, the question was asked to them, a twofold question. The first question was, what do you think about the people that are going to show up next Monday and protest, which that did happen, and then the follow-up question was, considering that I believe it was 47 counties in Pennsylvania have had less than 100 cases, and 32 of those counties have had less than 50 cases. How do you tell business owners in those areas that they have to remain shut down? I'm going to lose you up here in a second. I always do by the tire shop here. Right? Now, this is a relevant question because it speaks to what Governor Wolf's team originally said, which is, we're not going to do a one-size-fits-all approach. We'll look at it on a county-by-county basis and see what makes sense for each county. Okay, that made more sense. So why the change? And so, can you blame business owners in these counties, seeing as how they originally told, yeah, it won't be one size fits all, it'll be county by county, and we'll look at how many people are infected. If you're in a county with 4 or 5 people infected, like Sullivan County, and you're a business owner, aren't you saying, wait a minute, Governor Wolf's own team told me it wouldn't make sense to shut down based on these few cases? So they were asked this question, to which Governor Wolf's team responded, well, here's the problem. The virus has already spread to every county. It's just there are asymptomatic people. So we have no idea how many people actually have the virus. And because of that, we need to continue the shutdown, else we risk things exploding. Now, 2 things. One, that proves what people like me have been saying all along. If the virus has already spread to all these counties, then what the hell good's the lockdown? If you've had this lockdown and all these cases are centered in places like Philadelphia, yet they still somehow made it to Sullivan County, doesn't that prove that the virus is going to spread no matter what? It's inevitable? And when we brought this up initially, remember the government, both Wolf and the federal government's initial argument was, yeah, it's going to spread everywhere, but the key is we need to flatten the curve. Now think of what that means. Flattening the curve doesn't mean causing less people to have the virus. It means as many people would have the virus, except instead of getting it all at once, it'll occur over a greater period of time. And the argument for doing that was, well, we don't want to overwhelm hospital systems. Okay, even if we believe that argument, for a place like New York City, how the hell does it make sense to places like my county, Clarion County, where hospital visits have been down 57%? The local hospital here, along with the network it's connected to, has had to furlough 600 employees because so few people are going to the hospital. So if it's about, well, stopping a big rush on ICUs, there are no one going to the ICU. So why the lockdown? And again, this is another admission by the government, at which they've admitted over and over again, we don't know. We have no clue. When did it become the default position? Well, if we don't know, then we'll default to shutting down the economy and stripping people of their rights. When did that become the default position? That's nonsense. If we don't know, you shouldn't be taking people's rights away. You shouldn't be collapsing the economy. So I brought that up on the radio program I was interviewed on last Friday, which, by the way, I finally got a copy of that and I'll be putting it up today. It's 2 hours, so but strap in. So then, a week later, Governor Wolf comes out, I believe it was some point this week, I didn't get the exact day, Tuesday or Wednesday, and now he has a plan to reopen. 20-something counties he's going to reopen on May 8th, and then incrementally other counties. How does this make sense? What changed on May 8th from last week, from April 15th? What's the change? All of a sudden we're going to look at that? How is it Dr. Levine's claim that, oh, we can't reopen because the virus has already spread? Do they have evidence that the virus will be done spreading May 8th? Can we see that evidence? Or is this what's happened? They initially said, well, it doesn't make sense to do a one-size-fits-all approach. That was Governor Wolf's initial argument. And then he said, nah, we're going to do a one-size-fits-all approach. And then when asked, but what about these counties that have like no cases or very low cases? What do you tell those business owners? He said, well, we say sorry because if we opened, the virus will spread. Then a week later, they say, nah, we changed our mind. One-size-fits-all doesn't work. And these counties are safe to open without the virus spreading. Does that make sense to anyone? Now look, I'm all for reopening these counties. I was for never shutting them down in the first place. We know at the end of this, Governor Wolf, or the federal government, Trump's government, or each state's government, they're all going to say, yep, we made the right decision. We did it. We made the right decision. Despite giving contradictory and, what's the word I'm looking for? Mixed messages the entire time. They'll still say, oh, everything we did was justified. We nailed it. More people would have died if we didn't do what we did. We should not allow them to get away with this. They should be held accountable. I'm going to be contacting my friend Todd, who gets to ask questions to Wolf. I'm going to be contacting him today and saying, look, the questions you need to be asking are, what's changed from last week to this week? Why all of a sudden is it, oh, last week it was, well, these rural counties where there's almost no cases, secretly there are a lot of asymptomatic cases. Therefore, we can't open up the counties. To this week, oh, of course we can open up these counties that have had few cases. What's changed? Because the truth is, you want to know what's changed? Nothing. I'll tell you what's changed. Governor Wolf is probably looking at some polling numbers or some focus group that's saying, hey, you're going to get shredded when election time comes around because people have had enough of it. And so he's saying, okay, we'll relax some of this. It was never about keeping you safe. It was about them exploiting a crisis to redistribute wealth as much as they could, to enact their globalist agenda, to train people, to set up a new norm that anytime the government says we need to take your rights, you say, yes, thank you, please do that. To encourage things like snitching on your neighbors. That's what this was about. And they're going to hold it out as long as they feel they can before there's an uprising. And then they'll say, oh, okay, see? We didn't declare martial law. Everything was cool. We saved a bunch of lives, and so trust us next time as well. That's what it's about. The protest Monday worked. That's what it's about. Because Governor Wolf started to see, geez, people are getting upset. So for all the Trump supporters that said, oh, no, we can't question things. We can't talk about things like our rights. We can't talk about that. The Constitution's just a piece of paper. For all those that said that, oh, no, we have to go along with Trump's for the lockdown, so we have to go along. What did Trump say about Georgia yesterday? Did you see that? Oh, yeah, I'm disappointed. I think that Georgia's opening up too soon. There you go. Now, yes, is it a good thing that Trump's leaving the states do what they want? No. Trump's the chief executive tasked with enforcing the laws and protecting the Constitution. Therefore, if a state is erroneously taking away our rights, such as the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, your right to peaceful assembly, your right to religion, practice your religion as you see fit, then it should be the role of Trump and his DOJ to be enforcing against these governors that they're taking away people's rights. Instead, Trump's like, I'll just leave the governors do what they want. But I disagree with the ones that want to open now. Great leadership there, Trump. Yes, is he better than the Democrats? Yes, I'll repeat ad nauseum. Of course, the globalist Democrats are the worst. It is not in the Constitution that the states control their own states. The 10th Amendment says anything not specifically outlined in the Constitution is the role of the states. That does not mean that the states have the right to take away the rights guaranteed to you in the Bill of Rights. If you're right watching trains go by, then doesn't that mean that the entire protest against Ralph Northam for the Second Amendment was garbage? Hey, Ralph Northam's the governor. He's allowed to take away your right to bear arms, right? Isn't that what you're saying? It's the state. Trump has no say in that. That is ridiculous. If that's true, that your Bill of Rights protections don't protect you from state government, then that means the governor of Pennsylvania is allowed to say, okay, I outlaw Christianity. And you'll say, you can't do that. The First Amendment says I have the right to practice religion. Oh, no. The states can do what they want. It is ridiculous. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows that the state governments can't override your Bill of Rights protections. We all know it. But for some reason, a lot of people are pretending, well, right, yeah, we should vote the governors out. But I've talked to people that are legitimately saying, yeah, people that protested Ralph Northam for the Second Amendment telling me, oh, no, Governor Wolf's allowed to do what he wants. Governor Newsom's allowed they can take away your First Amendment, right? Clearly. So anyways, getting off the Trump line of it. Nothing's changed. This is why we should have protested the federal government. It's why we should protest the state government. See, it worked. At least impartially. No. This isn't Trump allowing corruption to expose itself. So what? Trump telling the governor of Georgia that he shouldn't have opened up is Trump allowing people to expose themselves? It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Trump worked actively with Cuomo and Newsom. Actively worked with them. Praised them for their lockdowns. But now that a lot of Trump supporters are saying, oh, but it was all 4D chess plan. See, secretly Trump knew that people's lives were being ruined because of this lockdown. People would lose their livelihood, would lose their job. And Trump secretly knew that, but it was worth his plan to leave Newsom expose himself. Like we needed to know that Newsom and Cuomo were authoritarian leftist dictators. He will step in. Trump will step in. I'll be sure to tell my friends that have lost their livelihoods and job, hey, it's cool. Eventually Trump will step in. Sorry, it was too late for you, but sorry, it was so Trump could prove a point. He knew all along that it was corrupt. He knew the shutdown was unnecessary and corrupt, but he wanted people to expose himself. You see, what it is people didn't know that Newsom and Cuomo were authoritarian leftists. They didn't know it. It just needed to be exposed. This is nonsense. It's nonsense. Trump supported the lockdown, period. It wasn't to expose the other people that supported the lockdown. Trump continues to have federal stuff locked down. Right, Trump will come down on Michigan first because it's Democrat, because he thinks it'll help him politically. Trump has the ability right now to say this lockdown's unconstitutional. Yeah, Bob, 2.2 trillion? Try 6 trillion. The 2.2 trillion deal, and then $4 trillion in Fed liquidity, and that's just phase 2. Anyways, I'm getting off the Trump thing because I have to be at work here soon. The point is, the protest worked. If a lot of Trump supporters, instead of saying, I support anything Trump does, would have initially said, no, Trump, you're listening to the very globalists that are trying to screw you out of your presidency the entire time, maybe Trump would have listened. Just like when Trump was like, oh, bump stocks, blah, 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 and a bunch of Second Amendment advocates were like, no. Then Trump was like, yeah, I'm for the Second Amendment. Because Trump's not all-knowing. He's not clairvoyant. He knows that there are people out to get him, but he also trusts a lot of the people that are around him. A lot of those people that he trusts, your John Boltons, your Dr. Fokies, all these other people, your Michael Cohens, they're out to get Trump. It's our duty as people that want this country to do well to tell Trump, stop listening to these globalists that are trying to bury you. Instead, tons of Trump supporters were like, yes, Dr. Foki. Yeah, he's right. Listen to Dr. Foki. Shut everything down. Yep. And then when people like me came around and was like, no, they're like, oh, how dare you? You're going against Trump? You've never really liked Trump. Yeah, the truth is, I'm for ideas. That's what I'm for. I'm for principles. If the person I voted for goes against those principles, then I'm not going to agree with them just because, well, they're my guy. Yes, that's what I've been saying, watch woman. Sorry, I said watching trains go by earlier. That's what I said, watching woman. That we should all vote out our governors. We should also, does that mean we should vote out the federal government that initiated this? Of course we can't, because the Democrats are 15 times worse. But, thought I was going to get pulled over there. So, anyways, I'll finish heading to work. Anyways, the point is, the protests worked. Nothing's changed in Pennsylvania. What's changed from last week to this week? All of a sudden, last week was, oh, no, it'd be a disaster if we open up these rural counties in Pennsylvania that have almost no cases, because secretly the virus is there asymptomatically, and it will immediately spread everywhere. To this week, yeah, of course, and May 8th, we'll be able to reopen some of these. What's changed? Why do we have to wait till May 8th? What's the date? What's the specific? See, they won't answer any of these questions. Why? Because they've already set the precedent. The people are willing to accept them just taking away your rights without answering questions. What did I say from the get-go? I was fine. I wasn't fine, but I could accept some of these actions if we had transparency and government was answering basic questions. But they refused to. And I said, if we don't force them to answer these basic questions now, they'll never answer them. And instead, they'll just say, oh, what we did was right. We saved a bunch of lives. That's exactly what they're doing here. Because if they are forced to say, can you tell me where the science says, where the doctors say that last week opening up would be bad, but May 8th it'll be good? Can you tell me what it is exactly that you're looking at? What's the science? They won't, because if they do, and then, God forbid, more people get the virus when they open up, which will happen, then all of a sudden they'll say, oh, well, we weren't wrong. So they can't have the numbers actually out there, because then we'll be able to prove that they were wrong. So instead they'll just say, well, we just have a gut feeling. Just listen to what we say. That's the difference. If there wouldn't have been a protest, I guarantee you, if there wouldn't have been a protest, if 5 or 6 people would have showed up to Harrisburg, and that would have been the extent of the protest, then they wouldn't have cared. They would have said, yeah, keep the lockdown going. But instead, they saw a bunch of armed people showing up and saying, we're getting tired of it. Something's about to happen. And now they're like, oh, okay. Now we should reevaluate. So that's where we're at. I'm going to be doing more videos today. Again, I'm sorry with my crazy work. I have 0 days off this week, so I'm just pulled into work now. So I work, then I come back in tomorrow. So I'm trying to do my best to get more videos out there. Even if you disagree with me, thanks for listening. Yeah, I mean, you should be out there. You should protest. Yeah, my advice is, and I've told every business owner I know in Clarion County, open up immediately. Let the governor come arrest you. Go ahead. Let's see those optics. Arresting small business owners. Go ahead. En masse. Of course, if you're the only small business owner that opens up, then, you're the greasy wheel and you'll be focused on. But if all of them would open, what are they going to do? My town, Clarion? They're going to shut the whole town down, arrest everyone? It's garbage. It's been all about authoritarian garbage from the get-go, just as I predicted. And how did I know? Am I some kind of genius? No, because they weren't being transparent. Again, I'm not such an ideologue that I'm saying that the government never has the right to step in, to take rights away, to harm the economy, to fight some sort of virus. I just want to be proven what is their claim for their threshold for doing that. What is their models they're looking at? Explain every step of the way. And they didn't at any level, at the state level, at the federal level. They didn't explain any of that. And now we can see over and over. Remember, the CDC told us back in March, masks don't help. Now, the law in Pennsylvania is I can't go to a store without a mask on. How does that make sense? Oh, it's such a serious virus, you can't go to work. Only essential businesses could be open. But the candy store is essential. In New Jersey, you can't go to church because that's not essential, but you can go to the liquor store. All of this shows I don't have to be an epidemiologist to look at this and say, wait, what? These mixed messages prove they're not serious. The Democrats holding up this relief bill proves they're not serious. The fact that both sides were okay with $25 million going to, this art center or to this university or whatever, they're not serious. Well, they are serious in that they're trying to destroy the economy, just like I said they would. And Trump going along with it is a huge mistake. So, all right, well, hey, thanks everyone for listening. I might do another car video on my way home when I go home, and then I'll be doing some more videos today. So, thanks so much, everyone. As always, have a good one.